Everybody, please recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Hopefully, you all have a flag close by that you can see and appreciate.
Pledge allegiance
Allegiance to
To
the
the
Flag
flag
of
of
of the
the
United
United
States of America,
and to the republic
to the republic
stands
which is
one nation, under God,
one nation,
indivisible,
under God,
liberty
indivisible,
and justice
liberty
for all.
and justice for all.
Well, that worked better than I actually anticipated. We'll continue on with the approval of the agenda for tonight. Do we have any additions, Joe Sample?
I do not have any additions.
Anybody else have anything? Well, I'll make the motion that we approve the agenda for the January 13th, 2021 meeting.
Beth
Caleb.
Weimer, I'll second it.
All right. Joe Orb,
Yay.
Caleb McNally,
Yay.
Beth Weimer,
Yay.
Mark Lacey,
Yay.
and Greg says yay. Also, that motion carries 6-0. Approval of the December 9th, 2020 minutes.
I'll make Joe Arp here. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 9th.
This is
Caleb
Scott Rice.
seconds.
Who was the second with again?
Scott can have it.
Oh, yeah. Somebody went to sleep at the wheel on that one. Thank you, Scott. How do you say, Beth?
Yay.
Mark?
Aye.
Joe Orb?
Yay.
Scott Rice?
Yay.
And Caleb?
Yay.
Greg also says yay, so we'll go 6-0 on that one. Correspondence.
I do not have any correspondence for the month.
No correspondence for the month. Were any comments from the public sent to you for tonight?
We did not receive any comments from the public.
All right, we'll continue on with approval of the bills and financial reports.
All righty. Kind of quickly going through the check listing. Oh, you can kind of see a number of the items, big tickets there, the Blue Cross Blue Shield, typical stuff, our masks that we got there at the beginning of second semester. That's that expense there. We had some money left over for Sparks, and so we made some additional Chromebook purchases. Typical items there. We did pay the last of the QSI, the crow's nest, so we have that taken care of. Let's see, CenturyLink, City, most that's utilities and regular bills. Flow through money through 3 Lakes. We had some reimbursement in there, food service, internet. Had some repairs, electrical repairs done. some heating and air repairs done. Did make a pretty decent purchase with Purizone for additional supplies. Copy paper, did the same. Had some startup costs there for basketball, being that we have to bring our own balls to put everywhere. Looking at the other document there that checks for payment too in your Google folder. Again, a little bit more of the same. Had a need for a projector or a couple projectors, I think there. Again, Modern Air, milk, payroll, pretty typical stuff. So that's all the checks for this month, other than the typical items. We are still waiting our payment for, the new year, the tax money rolling in. So we are looking a little light within LOB, but things are looking as they should. And we just got approval for another round of federal money to kind of combat COVID expenses. And so those things are coming back in. I think that one's going to be to the tune of around $200,000 actually. So that's going to be a very big help for us within the district, and we can tie some more money to that, and kind of help with things as we go along. So that is all I have for the financial.
Move to approve the financial statements as presented. This is Mark Lacey.
Joe will second it.
Motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All right. Start Rice. How do you vote?
Yay.
Caleb McNally,
Yay.
Beth Weimer,
Yay.
Mark Lacey. I'll get one of you Lacey's in there yet.
Yay.
And Joe Orb. Is Joe still with us?
Sorry, computer froze up. Aye.
All right, motion carries 6-0. Continue on. School Board Appreciation Month. Oh, looky there.
I apologize. That's about as good as we're going to get for this month, but we'll definitely have cupcakes ready for you, maybe even a little bit of a gift. But yes, you did miss out on having to take a picture for this month. So we'll end up taking that picture next month. How about it?
Oh, if we have to.
That's what they tell me anyway. Something about yearbook. So
Yearbooks, huh? All right.
yeah.
Any other questions on that? All right, Three Lakes report. I actually didn't make the meeting this month. It was also a Zoom meeting, and it was rather short and sweet. They had some new employees hired, a couple resigned, a couple moved. Nothing major discussed. They're still looking at the COVID response. I did get a message tonight from Dr. Mickelson that the 2 learning centers are looking at remote learning for a while, as they have outbreaks, or not outbreaks, but staff members testing positive. Other than that, everything's going pretty good. The 5th assessment, she hasn't come up for sure on that one, how much that one's going to be. So we'll wait and hopefully know something next month. Any questions I can answer or try to, or maybe Joe has an answer for us.
Nothing on my end. My meeting was pretty quiet.
Well, that's the way ours was. We just had 4 folks able to make it, so. All right, if no questions, we'll continue on. Administrators report. Who would like to be first on the night?
Looks like I
Looks
got
like
Ben up
me.
first.
Yeah, I see that. Go ahead, sir.
All right, I apologize. I shared this out a little bit late with you guys, but I'm trying to get my cursor up here out of the way so it doesn't interfere. Just to kind of start out, I wanted to discuss remote learning and kind of how things shored up and ended up with all that. The 4 days back definitely helped. It was a little bit difficult to shore up some of the things that would have occurred or not occurred in the previous 2 weeks going remote, but it definitely did help. We had an advisory schedule that we set up for each subject in the junior high and the high school for that final week. We started with the subjects that had the highest amount of things that were missing or the highest amount of kids that were on the failing list, and started working our way down. And outside of the regular school day, that's when those kids were heading to those classes. So we kind of put together a document. The teachers were able to go on and edit it, and all the other teachers were able to access it to see who was needed where, that sort of thing. The final day in the afternoon, we just kind of had a bit of a fun day and had a Christmas movie rotation set up in the rooms. Mr. Thurston and Mr. Taylor graciously volunteered to be my Grinches that day. So they kept kids still needing to finish work as opposed to going to the movies. So most were able to shore up and complete what was needed. I'm fairly pleased overall with what we were able to get accomplished and shored up in those 4 days. So it's a shout out to the staff for kind of shoring up what they could and working with the students as much as possible during remote and that last week to finish the semester. I'm pretty proud of what they were able to do and go above and beyond for some of our kids. At our January early out that we had our meeting together, we kind of revisited the remote learning and took a look at it, what worked, what didn't work, what needed tweaked. Staff gave some pretty good input. We did tweak a few things, but the basic kind of format and expectations, the schedule, that sort of thing, they're going to be pretty much the same. So there may be a few things that are changing just in terms of what the classwork might look like, and most of that will all be taken care of in school. So nothing, I guess, different that we'll expect from our parents in that process. If we do go remote again, we'll communicate the expectations and what out ahead of time and try our best to kind of get all on the same page before we start. Again, just a big thank you to my staff for what we were able to do during that time period and the work that they did put in. Most of my staff was there in person the whole time and did put in some good work. Redesign's pushing forward. We met as a group today with our Zoom cohort, and we did have some schools that were out of the Gemini group from the previous years. I know Ms. Wallenberg was going to share a little bit more on her current status, so I'll kind of let her take that from here on out. But we did meet today as a group, and our next meeting will be February, same day as our early out, and we'll meet again and go through some stuff. Map testing, we're getting ready to start next week for English. We will hit kind of one subject every couple of days and rotate. English has 2 tests, so we'll do the first one up front, and then we'll jump into math, and then into science, and then we'll finish up with the language portion of the English test. This is our second round of testing for the winter testing window. We will end up using state assessment as the third round of testing, the third benchmark. Assuming they do continue as usual, depending on what happens with the state and different schools going remote, and that seems to kind of be ever changing as to what that may look like. So if we end up not scrubbing state assessments or not having them, depending on what the state ends up saying, we'll probably do a third round of map testing to round out the school year and kind of get that final benchmark. A couple events that are coming up. The spelling bee is getting ready to take place Thursday the 21st at 2 o'clock. Discussing with Twyla, we decided to set a 2 spectator limit. comparable to what we're doing with basketball. Just any two. We're not going to delegate it to just parents or guardians, especially during the school day. It may be easier for grandparents to attend, that sort of thing. So we'll have 2 for each kid, and we will live stream the spelling bee. There's no reason that can't occur at the time that it does actually take place. We will post that online once it is completed. The format mostly will be the same, with the exception of the participants only getting a couple of people to attend for them. And we're not going to have students from either school attend this go around. So otherwise, it'll pretty much be the same. Student-led conferences we're going to try and get up and running for our next round of conferences. Mrs. McCullough and myself have been working on what they're going to look like and what the students will need to accomplish. Students have kind of started putting together work on it. Essentially, it'll be a presentation on their part. It's going to have some stuff from Zello and a few various courses that they're going to start putting together. And they will themselves will lead it. So they will present it to both their teacher and their parent. And we'll kind of schedule them similar to what we did in the fall. So really the fall and the way we kind of scheduled to have parents come in will be a nice segue into this. So hopefully we'll hit the ground with both feet running and take off with this. And I think it'll be a good thing for our kids. We had our Lyon County League meeting today. So just to go over a couple of highlights and spark notes from what we talked about. The tournament is coming up for high school. Junior high just concluded this last weekend for us. We were knocked out of the first round, and we are not playing those bottom games. They did in the past, and it was discussed amongst the administrators, and it was just much easier to not complete them unless schools wanted to continue with them. So they won't be playing for the rest of this week. High school and what it looks like, it's still being held in White Auditorium. Mr. Van Ockers met with Lyon County, and he went through some of the things today with us. Essentially, there's still going to be limited lists of people that are allowed to come in, and it's going to be mandated to the 15 max players that are playing with their parent or guardians too, like we had been doing. And we're going to try and whittle down the list even more than what we normally would have, according to what Lyon County wants. We're not going to have board members on any of the lists unless you do have a player that's going to be there. Then, of course, you're on the list. But in the past, board members have all been allowed to be on. So that's not the case this year. And the only one I think that is going to be allowed from any of the schools on any night is coaches can come and watch games on off nights if they're not on the pass list, but no others are going to be allowed in. So if there is a scenario where fans want to go and watch 2 different teams play on a different night, they're not allowed to do that unless they're on the list for that night. So I will keep you updated on that unless that changes. I'm going to put together a list and get it out to the schools and kind of get that all rounded up. So for the most part, like I said, if any of you have a player, it shouldn't be any different than what we've been doing as a league, just with the exception of where it's being held and a couple of formalities. Once the CASHA mandate is up, it's pretty likely we're going to continue with the scenario we have in terms of the spectators across the league. Even though league play after the league tournament is pretty much, I don't think we have any more league games. I'd have to double check, but we're going to be jumping into districts and playing some other teams. And it's kind of unclear what exactly that's going to look like as of now. I hadn't even heard rumors about it until we kind of discussed it today, but it sounds like CASHA is going to meet back up and will likely choose the path for us anyway. So whether or not they continue with the mandate that they have in terms of what the attendance looks like, or if something completely changes, it doesn't sound like it's definitely going to get scaled back any for sure. So that's the good news. So we'll keep pressing forward with probably what we have unless they tell us different. But again, I will try and keep you all updated as those kind of roll out. A couple little maintenance and facilities things, just to mention, snow melting has kind of created some more leak scenarios in our old building, and the snow melted pretty fast. So Lori's done a pretty good job with them, but we're still fighting a few. So I apologize on a couple of the issues that the building has, but we're trying to get through to them and get them all fixed up. So it's an old building. I don't know if we'll ever get them completely fixed. And just to mention, all of our bottle fillers are now officially installed on the fountains, so you can fill up a water bottle anywhere in our building from any fountain. So big thank you to the maintenance staff for doing that. They are supposed to be pretty much a one size fits all, and that's not necessarily the case, but all of them did get sorted out and are up and running. So I feel pretty good about that with our kids right now and being able to fill up a bottle about anywhere. So that's pretty much my spill. Is there any questions that I can answer for anybody based on what I just talked about? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.
Twyla, how do you want to talk about redesign, or do you want to start with your board report?
I'll just do my report first, and then I can finish with redesign.
Sounds good.
Okay. So it's semester time. That's usually a time we see a little change in enrollment, but luckily enough, at this time officially, we only lost one student and a possibility of gaining 2 or 3 more. We haven't seen them yet, but I have received some phone calls about it. So, so looking forward to that. Hopefully, if we find some more kids. Assessments, we are in the process of doing that as well with Ames Web. And then also the staff is busy, of course, planning for those state assessments. Well child screening, normally we invite people into the building. This year, we are doing by individual appointment only. And at this time, we've had 3 already, and that will continue throughout the spring semester. And I already know of some transitioning from the early childhood as well. So our preschool numbers are going to increase. So looking forward to that. Ben kind of mentioned the spelling bee. The only thing I'll add there, I listed the participants, contestants from the 4th and 5th grade. So hoping they do a great job. Kansas Day celebrations in the past, Mr. Lingenfelter and the 7th grade history class have come over and presented. Obviously, we're not going to do that. But whenever we can in the future years, we're going to pick that back up. But we will just do some things in class only this year. I wanted to mention the PE position. Obviously, Miss Flock has started the semester with us. She's off to a great start. Busy trying to learn kids' names and taking extra time, I might add, just that I've seen in my building. When she comes in, it's lunchtime. And so sometimes she'll sit down at the lunch tables and visit with kids. And then after school, like at bus duty, she'll kind of hang out with some of the kids and getting to know them. So definitely making an effort and pleased with what I've seen so far. Remote learning, is kind of like Ben said, kind of making a list of those things of what worked, kind of putting that together as a resource so we know in the future. Hopefully we won't ever have to use it, but we know that's a possibility, and it'll just be a good resource if we ever have to. With technology, obviously that's part of that. Still kind of working on some of those small issues at Quinimo. And I'm kind of working with Kim Dayhoff to kind of set up a schedule and just kind of working through some of those things that we can do to help her out to make some progress there. And Missy Shields, we're looking at her schedule this semester as well to see if we can give a little time on those days that Kim is not in the building. So maintenance, Dwayne and Ken were able to do quite a few projects, obviously, during the remote time and then just finishing up over winter break. I do know that Dwayne did go over and help with some of the water fountains at Melbourne because there was some of the plumbing issues and we had finished ours. Lori had come help us. So just returning the favor. So that is nice to have and definitely eliminates the wait time for a class to get their water bottle filled. I did want to mention, and it made the front page of the paper, I think it was a couple weeks ago, about a sewer problem. And of course, they put the elementary school on the front page when it really has nothing to do with us. So I just wanted to mention that tonight. There is a problem on the city property west of us, but it's not affecting us in any way. It's not tied into our lines at all. And the repairs are still being done. They're not finished, but they definitely are working on it. But found it interesting that we made the front page for the sewer problem when it's not really our problem. So I also listed several dates coming up. Obviously, it all looks a little different, but trying to keep some of it as normal as possible. So, Joe, if you want to go ahead and pull up the redesign, I'll kind of talk about that just a little bit. So we did meet today, and basically we kind of finalized. So within redesign, we're choosing different, obviously, goals and areas to launch, to start something new in the district. And so you can kind of see, I'm not going to read all the way through it, but basically just kind of our district committee and goal of communication. High school, of course, and junior high are kind of going with 3 of theirs all together, kind of all ties in together. And then the elementary building has 3. And the person in bold will obviously be leading that. And they are all members of the redesign team that meet on those monthly meetings. So we're looking forward to kind of moving forward with staff on the early release day on February 3rd. We plan on starting with that and then moving forward. And then hopefully in the February board meeting, we can kind of give you some strategies of what we're going to move forward with. So kind of exciting times, kind of thinking outside the box. And so staff is on board and they've been involved, and it'll get a little more intense for all of them now that we're to the point where we've organized our teams. So any questions on any of that?
Thank you, Twyla.
You're welcome.
For my report, just a couple of things here. We've kind of talked how things have gone when we did our remote learning period. I think the principals kind of summed that up well, so I won't go into too much discussion there. Just, I wanted to make sure that I kind of touched base that I think that we're starting to get to that place where we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and the chances of us having to deal with that again is probably easing up at least a little bit. Vaccines are starting to be distributed within the county. I know the teachers, staff, things of that nature, school employees are on the second level or the second group, whatever it is that you want to call it. I know the county is working hard on getting the doses that they do have out to that first group of people, and then having a conversation with Jackie, they pretty much indicated that once they get to that place where they have kind of ran that gamut and have given out those vaccines, she would be giving us a call so that we can start that process along with the rest of the schools in the county. So again, we are getting to that place where hopefully we can kind of start seeing some return to normalcy to some degree. But obviously in the meantime, we still need to remain pretty vigilant. And I think that our staff has done a really good job with it, and our students are doing a really good job with it. So we'll just keep on going that direction. One of the items kind of there included with that COVID-19 update, you probably saw from KSDE, one of the things that we aren't particularly going to run into, hopefully, but is kind of becoming a concern within the state, is how to handle the number of hours that schools are in session and having that student contact. I know some districts are looking at maybe something, looking at being short. I know KSDE gave out some PD days so that school districts can kind of have that eased and be able to count that as full student contact time here this second semester. But we aren't really in that place, and so we aren't really necessarily needing to have any additional PD days during the course of this semester. But obviously, if situations change, that might be something that we utilize at some point. So just wanted to kind of have everybody up to date there. Before I move on, I think and I'll double check the agenda, but I think that's our last opportunity to talk COVID-19. So I always like to ask the question, does anybody have any questions or concerns on the COVID-19 process or goings on for the district before we move on? All right, that's what I like to hear. We've got a couple other things here on the list. The baseball, softball concrete, the application is being turned in. It should be done hopefully here pretty quick. And again, the timeline for that, I think they will review it maybe late February. I can't remember exactly, but I remember we got notification around spring break last time. So we'll get that taken care of in the appropriate window, and hopefully hear that positive news here coming up from the Jones Foundation. The football and track concrete, apparently we had some miscommunication as to the timing, and we're working those details out, which is probably okay because we did need to get some netting for the discus ring, and that still remains to be ordered. So we'll get that taken care of and then get that concrete work going. We are moving forward with our interior upgrades. I hope to have something for you to consider within hopefully next month's meeting. We had Feltner's coming. They were going to come today. I kind of got sprung on that, but we should be moving forward. They're going to come by on, I think, Monday next week, and we'll have a meeting with their installer for a project this large. So again, we're looking to do the flooring and within the old building there at Malvern. And then obviously, being that we're doing the flooring over the carpeting that's kind of on the walls, so that kind of that chair rail that kind of exists in our hallways. And so we're looking at the hallways, the landing areas, through the back doors, the stairs, things of that nature. We're doing all of that common space rather than we're not going to be doing anything with the classrooms just yet, but we'll be looking at that main space. So technology, as far as I know, and Twyla, please chime in. I think that we are at least seeing a little bit of an ease in our connectivity problems. I think that has gone decently since we have gotten back, but definitely correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Twyla.
I think it's just something that we're still working on, but have kind of made a plan with her on just checking probably a little better with teachers, and kind of getting in those classrooms when the kids are on, and kind of finding out when those drops do happen. So yeah, we're kind of working on a schedule to kind of watch that and monitor it a little bit better than we have in the past, I would say.
Gotcha. Perfect. And then, as I mentioned, we did buy some backup Chromebooks, so we're kind of getting a little bit of an inventory, so we can have some that go out when they break and be able to assist when needed there, and to replace some of our old stuff. Accreditation, as I mentioned in one of my email communications over winter break, that information for year 4 was submitted, and we are moving forward with year 5. Here in the next few months, we will be talking about that final push for year 5 accreditation. And again, just as a reminder, these are those action plans that we've talked about in depth before. I think all of that information is listed on the website if you want to take a look. But again, it is on par and ready to go, and looking forward to meeting with the accreditation committee, and or at least submitting it to the accreditation committee and working with them through this process. So one of the last things I kind of wanted to mention is that it is legislative season upon us. And as the legislative session gets ramping up, there are actually already, I think I saw 37 bills on the House floor maybe that are up for debate or up for consideration. So things are going to move kind of swiftly. I don't know that there's going to be any scenarios where testimony is going to be given directly in person, but obviously there might be some opportunities where I'm giving written testimony. And just as a reminder, I will probably, if I do that, that's going to, I guess, roll right into the policy positions by KASB. Again, a group that kind of works with you guys, and then obviously with the Superintendents Association, and those typically go hand in hand. And so I just wanted you guys to kind of be aware that if you do happen to see any sort of legislative testimony on bills, whatever it may be, they are representative of an opinion. And so I don't want to put anybody in any bad situations or where they don't agree with something. But again, if there is a policy that I would be giving any sort of testimony on, it would be reflective of KSB's position and or the Superintendent's Association's position. So just wanted everybody to be aware of that. That is all I have, Mr. McCurdy.
Do we have any questions for any of our administrators over what they've discussed? All right. Well, if not, we'll continue on with designate the elect board officers in July. Do you have a statement for me to read to be voted on?
I don't have any statement specifically. I think you just need to make the motion to forego electing them now, and you'll elect them at your organizational meeting in July.
Motion so made. What are you
I'll
talking
Second
about?
it. This is
Say.
Beth Weimer.
All righty. Well, thank you, Beth. Any other questions? Joe R., how do you vote?
Aye.
Scott Rice,
Sorry. Yay.
Caleb,
Yay.
Mark,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
and myself make 6-0. Thank you very much. Now we need to approve the remainder of our board meeting dates and times for 2021. Any questions or problems with those dates? Time still remaining at 7 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
All righty. I'll make the motion to approve the remainder of our board meeting dates and times for the rest of the 2021 school year. And the rest of the 21 itself, I guess.
This is Beth. I'll second it.
Any other questions or comments? Scott Rice, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark Lacey,
Aye.
Caleb McNally,
Aye.
Joe Orb,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Greg is also an aye. Motion carries 6-0. Negotiation appointments.
Who wants to be my board representative?
I believe you need two, don't you?
You know what? I think you're right. Do we remember who we had last year?
I was one. I can do it again. I'm pretty flexible, I guess.
I can do it, Joe. I don't know what all that entails, but this Scott.
It did. Last year's pretty simple. I didn't have to do anything, Scott.
Sounds like I can handle it then.
You and I can handle it.
All right.
Greg, I think you've got two.
Sounds like it. Do we need to vote on them or just accept them?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I guess, making that official.
All right, I'll make a motion that Scott Rice and Caleb McNally become our board reps for the negotiation team.
This is Mark Lacy. I
I'll
second
second
it.
it. This is Beth.
Beth, I think Mark beat you to it. Any other questions?
Perfectly okay.
Beth, how do you vote?
Yay.
Joe Arb,
Yay.
Caleb, even though you volunteered, how do you vote?
Yay.
Scott,
Yay.
don't sound so excited. Mark Lacy,
Aye.
and Greg votes aye also. That's 6-0. Thank you, gentlemen, both. School calendar.
Should have gotten a document in your Google folder there to take a look at, but put together the 2021-2022 calendar pretty well, I guess, reflects what we had for this year for our calendar. Obviously, the date for Good Friday and Easter shifted a little bit, so that kind of changed, but pretty much everything else stayed the same. I want to say we did have a 4-day weekend there in February that was different. I think that was President's Day. I can't remember if that was on there, but anyway, the big sticking point always seemed to be, spring break. And so that has been normalized for us by the Board of Regents. So all colleges should be following that. And then KSDE has indicated that they obviously would like schools to follow suit. So I think I haven't heard anybody that's not. And so I think that whole scenario has kind of been put to bed. And so this is where we are. For whatever reason, the numbers kind of just fell just right to where we will end the day on the 11th, but we'll have a work day there for the 12th. To me, that's beneficial. I mean, even if that's not really an intensive day there on the 12th, but I do think it's good for us to be able to have some time to wrap everything up with staff without students being there. So that's our calendar for next year. Do we feel comfortable moving forward having a vote, or do we want to? I think we may have waited last year and voted on it the next month.
I think wait until next month is probably a good idea where we can hopefully be face to face and maybe have a little more time to regurgitate and look closer at your calendar.
Fine by me.
No, look at your calendar, not your money.
Okay.
Is that all right, everybody else? Anybody
Yep.
have a problem?
Fine by me.
All right, we'll go ahead and table it for this
I'm
month
fine with
and
it.
we'll look at it next month. KSB policy update.
This is our, they call it the December 2020 policy updates. We usually get these twice a year from KSB where we update our board policy book. So you can see there on pages 3 and 4, the items that they have kind of gone through and revised. A lot of it's very simple, easy stuff. Nothing that raises any red flags by any means. So you can see obviously things like communicable diseases is something that they've had to go back and do a little bit of revision for. So pretty simple stuff. Any questions that we might have, or concerns? We do need to formally pass this to have it added as board policy.
This is Beth. I make a motion to adopt the updated KASB policies as presented.
Joe R will second it.
Motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Mark Lacy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Caleb McNally,
Aye.
Scott Rice,
Aye.
Joe Orb,
Aye.
Beth Weimer,
Aye.
Greg also says aye, so that motion will carry 6-0 again. All right. I believe we forgot to take 16 out and put it next month where we could all be face to face.
Well, I was just going to quickly touch base to make sure that that was something we felt comfortable doing.
I think it would be better and the easiest way to do it.
Okay. Fine by me.
All right, well, jump on to 17 then with personnel.
Well, I do have some items, maybe 10 minutes.
I don't have my fancy sheet beside me, but I'll make a motion. We go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel.
1A, right?
Yep, generally what we use.
There you go.
Time of 10 minutes with board and administrators. We shall return back at, looks like my watch just went off. Call it 8 o'clock even, so it'll be 11 minutes.
All right.
Joe R.
Any other questions? All right, Scott Rice, how do you vote?
Aye.
Caleb,
Aye.
Beth,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
did I miss somebody? I think I missed Joe, didn't I?
Joe votes aye.
Greg goes aye, so that'll be 6-0. I hope I got everybody. Go ahead, sir.
All righty. I'll go ahead and assign you to the breakout rooms and we'll get rolling. Mr. McCurdy, I think we're back, everybody, but Ben?
That's what it looks like to me. Well, we'll go ahead and call the meeting back to open session. Everybody other than Ben has returned. And we'll continue on. Do we have anything else on personnel we need to discuss?
No, sir.
Board comments. Anybody on the board like to say something or discuss something in? Don't hear nothing but crickets, so I guess I'll ask for one more motion.
This is
This is
Joe.
Caleb.
I'll need to adjourn.
Caleb
Marshall, I'll give
seconds.
you the option. You can put Joe down or Caleb down for the motion and the other for the second. Any other questions? Scott Rice, how do you vote?
Sorry about that. Aye.
Mark Lacy,
Aye.
Beth Weimer,
Aye.
Caleb,
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
I believe that's all six of us, is it not? Greg also votes aye. It'll be 6-0 on the adjournment. Thank you all kindly for attending this evening.